All right, let's dive into this portfolio you've sent us. Wow, you weren't kidding when you said you were looking at some bold moves.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I like to keep things interesting.
Well, you've definitely succeeded there. Archer Aviation, GameStop, Amazon, Iris Energy,
SoFi, Rivian, Coinbase,
and Marathon Digital. We've got established giants, disruptors, future forward plays. This is going to be fun.
definitely a bit of everything. A real mix of established players, some disruptors trying to shake things up.
Sustainability plays, bets on the future of finance, and even transportation.
Yeah, lots to unpack here.
Absolutely. Where do you even want to begin?
Well, you mentioned transportation, and I think that's a great place to start. You've got a couple of companies in here that are really pushing the boundaries of how we move around, both on the ground and in the air.
Yeah, it seems like the future of transportation is a recurring theme in your picks. So let's start with, well, how about flying taxis?
Okay, yeah, Archer Aviation. They're developing these eVTOL aircraft, essentially electric flying taxis. Imagine, instead of sitting in traffic, you just hop in one of these things and soar above it all.
That sounds straight out of science fiction. But I mean, United Airlines is actually partnering with them, even investing in them. So,
Yeah, it's definitely a signal that this technology has some serious potential.
yeah.
The idea is that these eVTOLs use distributed electric propulsion, which lets them take off and land vertically.
So no need for runways.
Exactly. But of course, there are still some pretty big hurdles to overcome, like battery technology is still a limiting factor,
Right.
and safety is paramount. So they need to have, all these redundant systems in place. It's a high risk, high reward kind of situation.
And then there's the whole regulatory side of things. Getting these aircraft certified for commercial use. I imagine that's not going to be easy.
Oh yeah, the regulatory landscape is a big challenge. But if they can navigate all of that, the impact could be huge.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Reduced traffic congestion, faster commutes, maybe even a revolution in package delivery. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. It really makes you rethink how our cities could function.
All right, so flying taxis are maybe a little ways off, but electric vehicles are very much here and now. And that brings us to Rivian. They're making a name for themselves with these electric adventure vehicles like pickup trucks and SUVs built for off-roading.
Yeah, they're not just designing cool vehicles, they're actually delivering them, which is a big deal in this market. And then you've got their partnership with Amazon for electric delivery vans.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. It's not just a deal, it's like a statement. Amazon's betting big on Rivian's technology.
Definitely. And it could have ripple effects throughout the entire logistics industry. Like, imagine Amazon controlling their entire delivery chain. It could disrupt traditional players like, FedEx or UPS.
Yeah, that's something to consider, especially how it might impact your other investments. Okay, so we've got electric flying taxis on the one hand and these rugged electric adventure vehicles on the other. What excites you more about the future of transportation?
Hmm. That's a tough one. They both kind of represent this shift towards more sustainable and, I guess, efficient ways of getting around. But what really fascinates me is how these innovations might reshape our cities. Will we have these sprawling urban air networks? Or will we see this big surge in off-road exploration? What will that mean for urban planning, infrastructure? It's a really exciting time to be watching all of this unfold.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift gears a bit now from the open road and the skies above to the world of finance. You seem to be interested in companies that are rewriting the rules of, well, how we bank, invest, even how we think about money itself.
Yeah, definitely. There are a couple of really interesting approaches emerging in your portfolio here. You've got SoFi. They're trying to become this one-stop shop for all your financial needs, from banking and loans to investing, even crypto trading.
That's ambitious. And they recently got a national bank charter, which gives them a lot more flexibility. But it's a crowded field, so can they really stand out?
That's the big question. They're betting on this seamless, integrated experience, something that appeals to a younger, tech-savvy generation.
Yeah.
But can they deliver on that and stay profitable? Time will tell.
Now, Coinbase is taking a very different approach, diving headfirst into the world of cryptocurrency. They're one of the biggest platforms for buying, selling, and storing crypto.
Right. They're really betting on the future of decentralized finance,
Yeah.
where blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies take center stage. Bold vision, but it comes with risks.
For sure. The crypto market is incredibly volatile. And then there's regulation,
Yeah.
always a wild card. Coinbase's fate is pretty tied to the ups and downs of crypto, but they're not just sitting back, they're expanding into things like staking and NFTs, trying to diversify.
Right. That diversification is key. It's about creating this whole ecosystem. But it also makes you wonder about their long-term strategy. Are they trying to be everything to everyone in the crypto world, or will they focus on specific areas? It's something to think about as you evaluate them.
So you've got SoFi trying to centralize traditional finance, and then Coinbase embracing the decentralized world of crypto. Two very different paths, each with its own opportunities and challenges.
And then there's Marathon Digital. They're taking a very different approach to cryptocurrency, focusing on the foundation of it all, Bitcoin mining.
Yeah, they're using massive computing power to solve these complex math problems and earn Bitcoin rewards. Fascinating process, but it's also incredibly energy intensive, which has sparked a lot of debate about the environmental impact of crypto.
Yeah, that's a valid concern, and Marathon is trying to address it. They're scaling their operations with a focus on renewable energy, like hydroelectric power.
So they're trying to prove that Bitcoin mining can be sustainable. But at the end of the day, their revenue is tied to the price of Bitcoin, which can be,
Unpredictable, for sure. So, in the world of finance, you're exploring a whole spectrum of possibilities. Do you believe in these centralized platforms like SoFi, or are you more drawn to the decentralized, kind of disruptive potential of cryptocurrencies? Or maybe you're interested in directly supporting the infrastructure of crypto, like with Marathon Digital. It really depends on your vision of what the future of finance will look like.
Yeah, a lot to consider. And we've still got a few more companies to unpack, including one that's an established giant and another trying to stage a dramatic comeback. But before we move on to those, I'm curious to hear from you, the listener. What stood out to you the most so far? What's sparking your curiosity? Share your thoughts because your insights help shape the direction of our deep dive.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? You seem to be drawn to these companies that are not just chasing profits. They're really pushing the boundaries, innovating, trying to make a difference.
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm looking for those companies that are writing the next chapter. And speaking of writing chapters, that brings us to a company that's practically written a whole encyclopedia, Amazon.
Right. They built an empire on e-commerce. I mean, they're the kings of online shopping. And then they just completely dominated cloud computing with Amazon Web Services.
And they just keep expanding. It's kind of crazy. Healthcare, entertainment, even groceries with Whole Foods. I mean, their growth is impressive, but it's also come with some controversy. Antitrust issues, labor practices, their impact on small businesses. It makes you wonder, how do you weigh those concerns against their track record and their potential?
It's the big question. I mean, with Amazon, you're basically betting on continued dominance. They're already at the top, and they just keep growing. But you can't ignore the risks. Increased regulation, changing public opinion. Those things could definitely impact them.
Yeah, it's a classic case of balancing risk and reward, and it actually kind of reminds me of another company on your list, GameStop. Remember the whole short squeeze thing?
Oh, yeah, that was wild. Really
Yeah.
showed the power of retail investors and online communities.
Totally. And now they're trying to completely reinvent themselves, moving away from traditional retail and going all in on e-commerce, NFTs, blockchain gaming.
It's a bold move,
Yeah.
but some might say a risky one. Can they really shed that, struggling retailer image and become a major player in these new digital spaces?
It's a gamble for sure. They've got a loyal fan base, but they need to show they can actually execute this vision, turn that enthusiasm into, actual profit.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. So we've got Amazon, this established giant that's constantly evolving, and GameStop, the underdog trying to make a comeback. Two very different stories, but both kind of connected to this underlying theme of, I don't know, maybe resilience.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it actually ties into another theme that seems to be important to you, sustainability. It's not just about profits. It's about investing in companies that align with your values.
Definitely. And one company that really embodies that is Iris Energy. They're a Bitcoin mining company, but with a twist. They're committed to using renewable energy for their operations.
Yeah, they're tackling one of the biggest criticisms of crypto head on, its environmental impact. Using mostly hydroelectric power, which is, clean and sustainable.
It's a smart approach, especially with so many investors looking for companies that are both profitable and environmentally responsible.
It's a good story, but, we got to remember their revenue is still tied to the price of Bitcoin, which, as we've discussed, can be a bit of a roller coaster.
That's true. It's the inherent risk in crypto.
Mm.
But Iris Energy is trying to mitigate that by focusing on efficiency, keeping costs down so they can weather the storms, so to speak.
It makes sense. So looking at your portfolio as a whole, there's a clear pattern. You're looking for companies that aren't just making money, they're shaping the future.
Yeah, you're investing in innovation in companies that are trying to make a positive impact. It's a portfolio that reflects, I think, a belief in the power of technology to solve problems and, create a better future.
Absolutely. But we also have to acknowledge that the future is unpredictable. These companies, they're all facing challenges, taking risks, betting on what the world will look like down the road, and that's where you, as the investor, play a crucial role.
Right. It's not enough to just pick companies that sound cool or have a good story. You have to really understand their businesses, their challenges, their risks, and then make informed decisions that align with your goals.
It's about being an active participant in the story, not just a spectator. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd love to hear from you, the listener. What connections are you seeing? What questions are popping up for you? Your perspective really helps shape this conversation.
Wow, we've really explored a lot, haven't we? From flying taxis to the world of crypto and even Amazon and GameStop. It's been quite the deep dive. But it's important to remember, as we've said, investing is about more than just picking stocks. It's about being part of these companies' stories, these companies that are trying to shape the future.
Absolutely. And aligning your investments with, your values, what you believe in, understanding the risks and all of that.
Right. So let's kind of bring it all together now. We started with transportation, Archer Aviation, with those electric flying taxis, trying to change how we move around cities.
And Rivian, with their focus on, electric adventure vehicles,
Mhm.
really rethinking what an electric vehicle can be. Exactly. Then we jumped into the world of finance, which is always interesting. So FI's trying to be that one-stop shop for all things finance, while Coinbase is all in on the whole crypto revolution.
And Marathon Digital, they're trying to show that Bitcoin mining can be done sustainably, which is a big deal with all the concerns about the environmental impact of crypto.
Yeah, it's a really important point. And then we talked about Amazon, this giant that just keeps growing, and GameStop trying to, stage this amazing comeback. It's amazing to think about all the challenges and opportunities these companies are facing.
Yeah, the landscape is constantly changing. Technology is evolving. Regulations are shifting. Consumer behavior is always, well, it's hard to predict.
And that's what makes investing so interesting, right? But it can also be overwhelming. So as you continue your research, remember, investing is a journey. You learn, you adapt, you adjust your approach as you go.
And diversification is key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say. Spread your investments around to manage that risk.
Absolutely. Remember, the goal isn't to be some kind of fortune teller,
Yeah.
You're not trying to predict the future perfectly. It's about making informed decisions based on solid research and your own personal goals.
So as you think about everything we've talked about today, ask yourself which companies' stories really resonate with you, which ones align with how you see the future unfolding.
And maybe even more importantly, where do you see the most potential? Those are the questions that'll guide your decisions as you move forward.
It's been great diving into all of this with you. Really makes you appreciate the incredible innovation that's happening right now.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We hope it's given you some valuable insights and sparked your curiosity. The future is being written right now, and as an investor, you have the chance to be a part of it. Happy investing.